If you've ever been to 30A, there's a huge chance that you've come by Gulf Place, or at a minimum, driven by it. So sorry guys in advance, it's super windy today and we are right by the beach, which incidentally I wanted to show you anyway, so we can go ahead and pan around and show you. This is the Edwalline Regional Beach Access. This is one of the largest beach accesses on all of 30A. It might not look like a ton of parking to you, but compared to the other beach accesses on 30A, this is actually kind of massive. So today we're going to do this video on Gulf Place and a couple of the neighborhoods surrounding it, because Gulf Place is actually kind of a small area. We have this intersection here. This is 30A and South County Highway 393. And it forms this kind of pie shape, which is going to be Gulf Place. But in this area, we've also got some other little neighborhoods. So I'm going to show you some of those. And then of course, my favorite restaurant, Shunk Gully's right here. And we can pan and show you. Shunk Gully's is one of my absolute favorite restaurants here on 30A. Not just because they have great food, but I don't know if you guys guessed it or not, but I just talked to you about the parking here on 30A, and that's a big deal to me. I don't like fighting for parking, and so Shunk Gully's might have the actual largest parking lot on all of 30A for any restaurant, which makes things a whole lot less chaotic and anxiety provoking for me. But they also have 2 levels, and from both of these, you can see the Gulf. It's absolutely fantastic. We're gonna come back to it here in a little bit and I'll show you more of what Shunk Gully's got to offer and more of the beach. But for now, let's go and check out Gulf Place proper. So this is the back side of Gulf Place, kind of the interior of it. So you've got more parking here. As you saw previously, we've got parking along the 393 and then of course 30A. But here you've got actual parking lots and you can see a bit of the retail spaces. I Love Candy. You've got Perfect Pig over here, which has some fantastic food. I like going to Shunk Gully's, but Perfect Pig is pretty great too. We'll talk about them here in a little bit. We've got Amore Cafe, a surf club, and then right here we have the Artist Village of Gulf Place. This is super cool. Each one of these little, I don't want to call them shacks, but kind of, they're like artist shacks and they're adorable. They are chock full of different artists. Sorry, that one triggered, that one tripped me up a little bit. So full of artist creations, all local artists. You're going to see, you know, art made of glass, paint, all different forms of mediums, very, very unique. And then just on the other side, we've got more parking, more retail spaces, and loads of condos. So we're going to take you around a little driving tour to get a better view of Gulf Place. And then we're going to go check out a couple of the neighborhoods so that you can see what it looks like in different areas of Gulf Place. And I'm also going to give you some market statistics so you know what's going on here in Gulf Place when it comes to the market. If this is your first time to my channel, I'm AJ Baduke. I'm your trusted local real estate agent serving all of Walton County, and this is my channel, Life on 30A. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you get notified every time I do another video and you stay the most informed of all of your investor friends here on 30A Real Estate. Let's go check out. Here in Gulf Place proper, there are currently 26 properties for sale, with the properties having 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms on average and being listed at right around $793,000. In the past 6 months, only 3 of the properties sold for an average of $680,000. The units that are on the market currently have been on the market for an average of 220 cumulative days, meaning if they were canceled or expired and then relisted with someone else, that counts towards the days on the market. There are currently 3 pending, meaning they're already under contract. Of the 3 that are pending, 2 of them have 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and were listed for $879,900. So the market is showing us that the 3-bedroom, 3-bath units are highly desirable right now. So if you're watching this as a Gulf Place property owner and you want to see your options to sell, give me a call. My contact information is on the screen. One of the greatest benefits to owning here at Gulf Place is the fact that you have multiple beach accesses that you can use to get out to the water and then walk over to the public beach area. We do still have the whole beachfront property owners that are claiming the sand as of right now, but you do have just a short walk. So you don't have to fight for parking, and you don't have to fight too hard to actually get your stuff to a great spot in the sand when you're here at Gulf Place. So this is something that's really valuable both to property owners who want to live here full time or just have a vacation property that they use occasionally, or for your tenants. So this is something that's really great that you can advertise to your tenants whenever you're using this on an Airbnb or VRBO. Now, some of the issues that Gulf Place has had recently is just like any other condo complex. We're seeing high HOAs. Most of them have been elevated after completing their miles and service inspection. So that's had a bit of an uptick in their fees and their reserves. So that's one of the reasons that we're seeing some of those numbers that we talked about as far as days on market and list price versus the ratio of which they sell at. So just some things to consider whenever you're looking at condos. You're always going to have those elevated HOA fees. They're always going to be significantly more than a house because you get exponentially more out of those HOA fees. So just something to consider. Plus, the closer you are to the beach, the higher your price point is going to be, both for what you pay for your mortgage and also what tenants are going to pay in rent. Let's go look at some other neighborhoods. Here in Gulfview Heights, we already can feel a huge difference between the layouts, the size of the lots, the types of properties, and just the overall feel of the area. In Gulf Place, you really get that kind of tourism, urban development, kind of new age feel, if you will. Whereas here in Gulfview Heights, this feels more like a subdivision. This is more like, yeah, I would live here, walk around leisurely in the mornings or in the evenings, not necessarily to go out for shopping or anything, but just to be in the space and, feel like, you are actually in possession of your plot as opposed to being right next to everybody else. You have a little bit more space. And wind. Listen, it's always going to be windy in these videos, you guys, because the Gulf is right there and it just kicks up wind. So at least we're not being pelted by the sand, because sometimes that happens. But this is going to be a really great spot to either live in or short-term rent out, have as a second family home, because you've got a dedicated beach access right over here and you're still super close to the public beach accesses. And you also have a bit more of a yard. So if you have a dog or you want to allow tenants that have dogs, you have no restrictions here because there's no HOA. You have absolutely everything that you could need, and you can still have some trees and a garden. I'm going to take you on a driving tour and give you some statistics so that you can see what the market is like here in Gulfview Heights. Here in Gulfview Heights, we're going to have a completely different feel than we did in Gulf Place. Here we've got all kinds of houses ranging from 1,100 square feet homes to over 7,400 square feet homes. In the past 6 months, only 3 properties have sold, with them sitting on the market for an average of 114 days and selling for about 90% of what they were originally listed for. These properties had an average of 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and sold for around $1.16 million. Now, there are currently 10 properties for sale here in Gulfview Heights, ranging from a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home listed at $925,000 to a 6-bedroom, 8-bathroom home with over 5,000 square feet listed for $3.6 million. The average days on the market so far for these properties is 199 days cumulatively, with the Monster House having been on the market for 469 days. This is clearly a desirable area with great access not only to the Gulfview Heights beach access, but also in close proximity to Draper Lake, which empties into the Gulf, allowing a beautiful mix of the fresh and salt water that can only be seen in a handful of locations in the world. There's no HOA in this neighborhood, so if you were considering purchasing a larger property that you'd rent out on markets like Airbnb and VRBO whenever you weren't using it, this is a solid location for that. You're right off of 30A, so you're not hearing the noise, but you're super close to the beach and everything that Gulf Place has to offer. This is the last and final neighborhood that we're going to tour here in Gulf Place. This is Santa Rosa Ridge. This is going to have a very similar feel to Gulfview Heights, but a little bit more rural. We're going to see a lot more trees. We're going to see some larger lots, some larger properties. And in just a minute, I'm going to take you on a tour and give you a market update on this neighborhood. Here in Santa Rosa Ridge, in the last 6 months, 3 properties have sold in here, and there are currently 3 available. Of the ones that sold, they had an average of 3.5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, and they had just over 2,200 square feet and sold for around $1.3 million. It took an average of 46 days for these to sell. As for what's on the market now, 2 of the properties are newer, 22 builds, like the year 2022, not 22 actual properties. In any case, they have 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms listed for around $1.85 million. And then there's another newer build, also a 2022, with only 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom listed for $1.1 million and boasting 800 square feet of living space. I'm interested to see what happens with this one. Sometimes in real estate, you get surprised. All right, so we have toured 3 different neighborhoods here in the Gulf Place vicinity. We went over the closest beach access, the Ed Walline Regional Beach Access, and my 2 favorite restaurants right here in the area, Shunk Gully's, which is right behind me with an excellent view, and then Perfect Pig, which is actually literally right there, the Perfect Pig. They have the most fantastic breakfast. But for the closeout of this video, I wanted you to see the parking lot that I was telling you about. Now, Shunk Gully's isn't open at the time of shooting, so that's why we've got all of this space right now, but they've got a gift shop down here, and then they've got a restaurant towards the front, which also you can go up to the top level, the bottom level, and then you've got their liquor and wine store over here. So this is all still Shunk Gully owned property with the beach right there. I mean, I can see it from where I'm standing right here. And this is kind of the Gulf Place area. You've got the green space right over here, all of the commercial, stores, retail stores. Words are hard sometimes, but all of that to say, in the Gulf Place area specifically with all the condos, that's of course going to be geared mostly towards kind of vacation style homes, not so much living, although you could make it work if you're someone who's very minimalistic in your needs. You don't need a garage, you don't have a bunch of storage stuff, maybe you're retired, maybe you've done van life or RV life or something. This would be absolutely perfect for you. But if you need a little bit more space, you want to plant a garden, you want to do some self-sufficient stuff, you don't necessarily care about having that super fast like walkover access, then you've got the Gulf View Heights and then also Santa Rosa Ridge. Those were absolutely beautiful. You can have some great flowers out there. You can grow some food. You can walk your dog. So just some different aspects, different price points. If you guys have any questions at all regarding the 30A market or any properties here in Walton County, all of my contact information is on the screen. I love when you guys reach out to me or notice me out in public. I'm a real person and I love serving you guys. So if you haven't done so already, please, again, click the subscribe button and ding the bell so that you get notified every time I do a new video, and I will see y'all at the next one.